Hey guys, it's me, Sophia. Welcome back and welcome if you're new here. So today is another podcast-like video where I'm just talking about life. And actually, no, I'm talking about quite important things. And today's topic, I feel like, is just so important to talk about it. I've talked about it for hours with my friends, and we're all facing this challenge in today's society called toxic productivity and burnout culture. And I feel like it's just in our generation, it's such a big topic right now. Everyone is like, oh yeah, I'm so productive. There are books on how to sleep 5 hours and work for 10. And our societies these days, especially in big cities, I'm from a big city myself. I live in Berlin. Well, currently not really, but but yeah, I'm from a big city myself, and I've also traveled a lot, and I've been to London a couple of times, and especially in London or New York, the hustle culture is roofing through the top. The hustle culture is a really big deal there. And at this point, people are like, if you're not hustling and if you're not constantly stressed and burnt out, are you even doing anything with your life? Which is so unhealthy. It's so toxic. So in this video, that's exactly what I'm gonna talk about. We're gonna raise questions about toxic productivity, burnout culture, what is it, where it comes from, and how to overcome it. So what is a toxic productivity? Toxic productivity is when you feel the need to be productive at all times, having huge to-do lists and having to do hundreds of tasks a day, and it is usually followed by a feeling of guilt or shame when you are resting or when you are not getting anything done. And even when you are resting, you're constantly thinking about what are you going to do next day? What are the tasks that you need to accomplish in a certain amount of time, which is usually way too much than you can actually accomplish. And when we are not being productive at all times, at all costs, we feel like we're losing the grip of our life, like we are behind our lives. So toxic productivity overall, I would say, is when we overcommit, when we completely discard our feelings and our boundaries, and when we just overcommit to projects or tasks, not prioritizing ourselves, our health, not prioritizing rest, and seeing rest as something that you're not worthy of because you feel worthy. Your self-worth is defined by the amount of work you do in a certain amount of time. And the less you rest and the more you work, the better you feel about yourself, which is, let me say, it's wrong, but it's wrong because it's really unsustainable. Moreover, we put quantity over quality of work. So we focus on the amount of tasks we do per day, per week, without focusing on the quality of that task. Because, listen, just another day, I currently have exams coming up, and it's a little bit difficult to prioritize all the things that I want to do in life and get on with my exams. And I also have university tasks such as like academic works, like essays that I have to submit. And for the past 3 days, I've been working on an essay, but without studying for my exams. And so I chose to focus and prioritize only that task, spending about 3 to 4 hours a day on the essay. And the rest of the day, I was either working out or resting or doing other things that I wanted to do. In this case, for me, it was really important to deliver a good quality essay. And therefore, I realized that if I'm gonna do other tasks on top of that, I'm gonna be tired and I'm not gonna be as efficient when writing that essay. So I chose to focus solely on the essay to produce a better quality. And unfortunately, these days, we focus rather on quantity of tasks we get done for a shorter amount of time rather than a quality of the work. The thing is, we choose to work and focus on many tasks and many projects at the same time instead of committing just to one task and just going with it and focusing your work, focusing your effort just solely on that task and then moving on to another one once this one is completed. And like, trust me, I'm guilty of that too. So toxic productivity also followed by, okay, the more I do, the better I am, the more successful I am. So we think if I overwork, if I hustle, if I work like, I don't know, if I work this many hours a day, if I rest less, if I just do, all I do is work, I'm gonna be better. And when being in this like toxic productivity loop, we have hard times to switch off. So even during your rest times, or like before falling asleep, you're thinking about the things that you have to do the next day instead of just switching off and allowing yourself to rest. Basically, you're not allowing yourself to fully rest because yes, you are resting, yes, you're sitting on the couch or laying in bed, but you're still contemplating and thinking about how many things you need to do, what you need to get done. And often we feel guilty of like, oh, maybe I should have watched that lecture. I could have done like a little bit of the work that I have to do for tomorrow right now while I'm on the couch. Anyway, I'm not doing anything. Anyway, I'm not busy. But the thing is, being busy, resting is also being busy, and it's also productive, and it's something that we don't get. Also, when you are in a toxic productivity loop, we feel like if I'm not stressed out, it means I'm not doing anything. So often people feel like if I'm not stressed, if I'm not having a hard time and I'm like everything is falling out of hands and I'm like constantly doing something, running, it means I'm not doing anything, which is false. Thinking that stress is a way to success. It's basically glamorizing the idea of stress and the burnout. So it's like, if you're not burned out, what are you doing? It's like you're not moving in life. If you're not stressed, what are you doing? Like, are you even working? We basically identify ourselves with what we do, and we base our self-worth and our confidence, our self-esteem on the amount of tasks we do and how productive we are. And it all comes at a cost of our well-being and our mental and physical health. As a result of being in this toxic productivity, in a constant burnout loop, we're more likely to feel burned out, depressed, anxious. You will end up feeling so burned out that you're like, I don't want to do anything. That one day you will just not want to get up from bed. And trust me, our bodies have a really fine way. Our bodies are really smart in that sense of letting us know when we've reached our limit, because whenever I'm stressed and I keep ignoring it, the longer I'm ignoring it, the sicker my body is getting. My body is not feeling well. My muscles are recovering worse. I'm sleeping. My sleep schedule is horrible. I cannot fall asleep, or even when I get up, I feel tired. If I just keep on going and ignoring that feeling, I get sick. Like, I will just one day get up and have a fever and chills and everything. Like, I'm getting sick, even though it could be some or anything. It's not a cold, it's not a virus. It's just my body shutting down and saying to myself, enough. This is the physical damage that comes to your body, because stress is really impacting our immune system. Imagine how it impacts your mental health. If your body is feeling physically sick, imagine how it impacts your brain. So let me just say that when we identify ourselves with our work, when we establish our self-worth based on the work that we get done and how much we get done in a day, it is just really unsustainable, because we forget that rest is productive too. Let me put it in a simple situation. For example, gym, right? And it doesn't matter whether you go to the gym or not. Recovery is the most important part of when you are trying to, when you have a goal, anything, when you're trying to build muscle, whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether you're trying to lose some fat, get leaner, build some muscle, rest is one of the most important parts of this like fitness journey. If we keep putting pressure on our muscles without giving it enough rest and without giving it proper nutrition, first of all, you will never see progress. Second of all, you will most likely end up hurting yourself, because recovery is really important, because your tissues need enough nutrition and need enough rest in order to recover. And indeed, your muscles grow when you recover. And it works just the same way with our brain. Our brain memorizes information better when we are sleeping. That's why it's important to sleep for having your at least 7 hours of sleep. An adult should have at least 7 hours of sleep, because during our sleep, it's not only that we are recovering, our brain is sort of resetting itself, but it also processes all the information. And this is why very often, sometimes if you're studying during the day, the next day you might wake up and when you had a really good restful night, you might even realize that what you have tried to memorize the other day or study, you now either understand it better or you either remember it even better, because it kind of like sank deeper into your memory. Rest is not only just important, it is productive, because it improves your efficiency. You are more productive when you have more rest. We need proper rest, we need proper amount of sleeping hours, a good sleeping schedule, we need proper nutrition, we need to feed our body and take care of ourselves. Guys, I've never seen a successful person running around like, oh my god, I'm so stressed out, and them talking about, of course, like, you know, we all have stressful situations at some point of our lives. We all go through that. But I've never seen a successful person consciously burning themselves out and drowning themselves in work in order to reach their success. All the successful people I see and follow, they put in the work, but they prioritize themselves. They always prioritize themselves. They always get up in the morning, do yoga, get their workouts done. They always make sure that they eat enough and they eat well. And they always make sure that they get a good restful night. And they always talk about how important it is to establish boundaries, to switch off, to stop your brain from working when you come home and just like letting yourself rest. All the successful people talk about how important it is to rest. And trust me, none of them have impossible schedules. Reality is, I know if I'm not good here and here, I'm not good anywhere, in any area of my life, whether it's my studying, my career, my hobbies, my relationships. If I'm not good here and here, I'm not going to be good anywhere. That's why it's important to take care of ourselves. And this is an act of self-love. Understanding when you need a break. So how do we overcome this dilemma? How to overcome this toxic productivity loop and how to avoid burnout? So here are my tips that I personally relate to. I'm pretty sure there's probably much more, but I would say here are the most important ones. So yeah, first of all, we have to understand the source, because often we overcompensate something within ourselves by overworking. It can be perfectionism, it can be the overachievement syndrome, it can be childhood trauma if your parents constantly tried to put pressure on you and constantly identified you and identified your self-worth with you doing well and you being productive. It may have developed from societal pressure if you're constantly surrounded and if you're constantly being in this like burnout culture where people promote not sleeping and just constantly working and just being like a rat in a cell working, and that's the way to success, which is BS, because that's a way to depression and failure, definitely not to success. Understanding the source is the first and most important thing, and working through it. Talk to yourself, literally, like journal about it, have conversations about it with someone, even with yourself, and work through it. Where it comes from, understand that it's unsustainable to give into that trauma or give into this sense of perfectionism, etc. Another point which is really, really important, stop comparing. We always look at influencers, and the thing is, we don't know how they got where they got. They don't know what their actual day in life looks like. Yeah, we look at all those aesthetical reels and vlogs on YouTube and TikToks, and the reality is what you see is only 1% of that person's life. You don't know how 99% of their life actually is. And I'm telling you, I'm 99% sure that these people also sit on the couch eating popcorn or chips and just scroll Instagram for an hour, just like we all do sometimes, and watch Netflix, and they rest, and they also have days where they don't want to get up and do anything, and let me tell you, that's exactly what they do. They have those days where they just eat fast food and stay in bed all day watching Netflix, because guess what? We all need that sometimes. And no one can do 100 tasks a day and feel alright by the end of the day. Yeah, remember that social media is fake. My content is focused on well-being. I also do beauty content, but yeah, my content is mainly focused on well-being. That's a niche that I like to tap into. That's what I'm passionate about. And yeah, and I try, as much as I try to promote, to push people to pursue their dreams and motivate people to be themselves and do what they love and put in the work, I never say work yourself to death. You have to enjoy what you do in life, because if let's say if there's a hobby that you're really, really passionate about, and if you're gonna just pressure yourself into doing it, if it's gonna become like a chore for you, you're gonna hate it. And it's something that you really love and that you're passionate about. But if you're gonna keep just like pressuring yourself and doing it like a chore, it will come to the point where you will feel burned out and you will hate it. Burnout doesn't get anyone anywhere. Another tip is establishing healthy boundaries, learning when to disconnect. It also relates to us disconnecting from our phones, because trust me, it's also being available 24/7 is no good for you. And I'm not saying keep ghosting everyone who's messaging you, keep ghosting your friends because mental health, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying establish boundaries where you allow yourself to disconnect and where you have time where it's only you, yourself, and you, where you can just sit in silence, where there are no emails coming in, because, even on your phone, when it's just laying there on the table, you're not working, but when you see that email notification pop with a task, you're like, okay, let me just see what's coming up tomorrow, or let me just see what it's about. You're still working. You're still working because you're still processing that information that is related to work. You're gonna think about it, you're gonna reflect on it, and guess what? Maybe sometimes this email will contain information, about something really important that you have to do tomorrow, something urgent coming up that you have to do tomorrow or next week, and you're already tired. It's the end of the day, and you're gonna end up just ruining your evening and thinking about, oh my god, I have to do this thing. oh my God, it's so much work. And trust me, if you just see this email tomorrow morning when you are after a restful night of sleep, after your morning stretch, your morning routine, breakfast, when you're ready to finally step into work environment, when you're gonna open that email and see it, you're gonna be prepared to see it. And you're like, okay, I can do it. That's why it's really important to disconnect, because even if you think, oh, I'm just gonna have a look, you will end up thinking about it, especially if it's something urgent or regarding a task that you have to do, you're gonna end up thinking about it one way or another. And this is also why never check your emails right before you go to bed. Never do that to yourself. Never check your to-do list or write your to-do list right before you go to bed. Write it and do it in the morning. I definitely recommend disconnecting and switching off and actually allowing yourself to rest. Don't think about work. Don't feel ashamed for resting. You deserve this. Even if you didn't get anything done today, don't trip yourself into this guilt. Don't start feeling ashamed and embarrassed and guilty. Even if today was unproductive, you still have tomorrow. It's okay. Worrying about it and just like being in this anxiety loop is not gonna help anyone. So switch off, rest. You deserve this. Rest, remember, rest is productive. Another tip is listen to your body. I've mentioned it already, your body knows. Like whenever we have a headache, like also when I'm really stressed, I have headaches all the time. When I've been working all day and if the day has been really stressful, I have a headache. I physically feel tired, especially us people with the womb. You know what I mean? If like cycles can be really draining, especially us, we have to really take care of ourselves in those days and be gentle with ourselves, because God, periods are exhausting. Like our productivity and our energy levels are highly tied to our cycles. I'm getting my period very soon, in like next week. And this is the time of my cycle where I usually feel a lot more tired. I'm more easily stressed. I'm more easily like exhausted. And that's the time where I need to be gentle with myself. I push myself less in the gym. I allow myself to take those extra naps. I allow myself to sleep in, because otherwise I cannot function. And guess what? I'm filming this video. I'm gonna get myself a really nice meal and then I'm gonna rest and chill, because I need this and I feel like I need this. So listening to your body, observe it, because trust me, your body knows before you do. Because your health and your well-being is more urgent. The last point is stop identifying yourself with your work. Stop identifying and stop basing your self-worth on how many tasks you get done per day, per week, per month. Stop it. You are not what you do. You are not your university, your career. You are not your work. You are you. And your self-worth is not defined by what you do, how you do it, etc. You're worthy regardlessly. Allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to rest, because trust me, even when you say, okay, I'm gonna lay down and I'm gonna rest, but if you're laying down and you're thinking about things that you have to do or feeling ashamed or guilty for resting, you're not resting. Rest is when you completely switch off, when you allow yourself to just be and not think about things that you have to do tomorrow, this week, and what happened today at work or university or school or whatever you are doing. Rest is when you allow yourself to fully, completely rest and switch off your mind from this task mode. This is the end. I hope everything was clear. If there is something that you want to share, let me know. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, If you like this video, leave the thumbs up, subscribe. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me, and every new subscriber for me is a celebration, so thank you very much. And yeah, remember, rest is productive, so go rest. You deserve it. I'm definitely gonna do that. And yeah, and I hope you're having a good day or night, wherever you are. Bye!